Son of a bitch. It happened right away.
Oh, man.
One of these days we will remember there is a storm test at exactly 10 a.m.
the first Tuesday of the month.
Oh, gosh. That's so stupid.
That's amazing. I hope y'all can hear this and we're not just like...
Here, I can imitate it if they can't.
No,
Yes, they don't like it. It's fine.
No, it's
See,
fine.
the dogs don't even like it.
Okay.
What
Okay.
an intro. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, is that hilarious?
It only lasts for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, wait, it's gonna last for a long time, and then he's gonna start talking, or the voice.
Oh yeah.
This is only a
this
test.
Is just a test. That's so funny.
Every time. You miss the.
Huh?
Seth is he misses the dogs jumping on his testicles.
Great. I'm so excited.
I'm sorry you feel yeah, sorry you feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel that.
Well, we can take care of that when you're up here. All right. Get rid of that for. No, that's enough of that for Jen.
You feel a little uncomfortable.
Whatever.
I don't care about your comfort.
Seriously, you don't smell that again?
You smell onions again? No.
I might be having a stroke. So if I start saying weird like that newscaster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's normal for me just to jack up my sentences and say stupid things.
How will we know?
Yeah. How will we know if I'm stroking out?
Just kidding.
I don't know.
Go like.
Yeah. If I start leaning, to one side, and I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never had one, so I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't feel like we should make light of a stroke, but
No.
anyway.
I just keep smelling random shit.
You do. Just
it's
random onion smells. I don't know.
What is this sound I have? All right, so how's the guitar, Jen?
Guitar is great. Whoa. We were like in sync on that.
That's how. Yeah. Okay, so maybe real quick, what's an update on like how you're feeling about it?
Well,
there was one thing we were gonna bring up, but then you don't have to remember.
Okay.
But yeah, update on it. What you've been working on, what you haven't.
well, I've been working on those nasty bar chords,
Nasty.
and and I have the finger placement of the F sharp minor, but it doesn't sound that great.
It's not too bad.
But
The biggest. So we'll continue with your update in a second, but I'm gonna interrupt with breaking news. Not really. Like when you play that chord, I'm assuming that it feels like you have to like strangle the hell out of the neck and like push like real hard and stuff.
Yeah, it's just trying to get my finger in a place where I feel like I'm pressing all of the strings.
You're talking
and
about
not
the bar
just,
finger?
Yeah, not
Okay.
just all of them.
Mhm.
So it's like, like when I think about it, and I I just can't do it fast. I can't like
Sure.
switch to it like in a song.
Yeah.
I always am like, hold
That-
on, let me get there first. Okay,
Yeah.
and then we can go on.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The when you we talked a little bit about it, but with the bar, a lot of times people will hit that first. And kind of get those other notes in there a little bit after. That can work pretty well. Here, while we're doing this, I should probably make us a little bit bigger.
Like,
So,
can
yeah.
I have like a hand stretcher? Yeah,
Oh, that's probably a bad move. There's I forget who it was. If anyone remembers, they should let me know because I've been trying to remember who it was for a while and I've been too lazy to or too forgetful, I guess is better to look it up. But there was a dude that you still push too hard on the neck. Yeah, it's hard not to press hard, especially I think for people starting out. But then with certain techniques, I don't know. Seth, if you're pushing down hard, film yourself and see if you can see tension somewhere else. That might be a good start.
See, it's so much easier for me to not do the bar first.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, if you feel like that, the only, I guess, potential downside to that would be in certain keys. Like, I should say this: the tension in your pants. That's gonna put the guitar in quite the weird angle, and it makes it hard to play. So if you're playing, oh, yeah, you know what's gonna happen.
Both of you are conspiring just to make me feel as uncomfortable.
Oh, we can make this worse. The only hindrance or like downside to that potentially would be if you have a chord where you don't have like open strings in the key. Okay, so like I could play. What's a good example of this? I could be playing a D minor chord, and let's pretend like we're in the key of D minor. It doesn't really matter right now, but I just like don't read too much into what I'm saying. I'm just just kind of saying, like, especially for anyone that would want to know that. But if we were in the key of D minor, it's going to have a B flat, right? We tune our second string to a B, right? So if I were trying to play like a chord like this, right? Doesn't sound so great. I mean, I'm sure there's a way you could make that, right? If I were to play the first string open though, sounds fine, right?
Yeah.
So there's certain situations where it might work. There's others where we'll get like some gross sound because you'll hit like, I don't know, let's say like a.
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird. I mean, that's not even the worst. The other thing too is if you feel like if you're pushing down really hard, just pushing down hard on any note will pull it out of tune.
Yeah.
And if you're holding it like this, let me turn for the camera a little bit better. A lot of times what you'll see is people bar it and kind of pull it a little bit. So then it sounds out of tune even if you are. What'd you say? Started learning. Do you know what gauge you started on the acoustic? I remember when I first got the acoustic from my first one, it had the most ridiculous gauge of strings on there. I don't even know what they were. It probably would have been something you could have used on your baritone rather than a standard sized guitar.
What are these? What are these gauges?
Those
heavy or not?
Those are the ones I put on?
Yeah.
Actually, I think Seth gave me those strings.
So they're heavy?
So no, they're not super heavy, but I think I don't know, were they 12s? Not super heavy, but a little bit heavier. Because if you were to 13s maybe, sounds about right. If you were to be playing with lighter strings, I think you'd have a lot of tuning issues.
Gotcha.
Just because you'd be pushing certain strings in a different way, you know. The other thing too is like I mean, just to bring this up, I mean, as you get better, you're gonna find what you like, right? So like, what kinds of picks you like, what types of strings, you know, both for sound and feel.
For sure.
Like on my electrics, I use the hybrid sets that Jeff Loomis told me about, where they start as like lighter, so I can do, all that kind. It's easier to do that stuff still. It's a little bit lighter, but then when I'm playing the heavier stuff, it's thicker, so it doesn't go like way out of tune when you pick hard.
I was really scared it was gonna break and hit me in the face.
I only get nervous about that if I'm tuning an acoustic, and then especially if you hear the nut making noise.
Yeah.
Ding, it's like uh oh.
Like.
Yeah, Dean Markley's. That's cool. Yeah, there's a little bit of a coating on these ones, so they're a little bit smoother. You get less of like a squeaky sound. If they're really coated, you can actually like see it. It looks like there's like not saran wrap, but it's like almost like a clear coating over the whole thing. Okay, so with those bar chords, the thing that you had mentioned to me before was like I did this so much better yesterday, or what that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. It's consistency, right? So when you're starting, like you can get things that sound great, and you might be on a roll, or a lot of times it's like you stop overthinking it. So you just are kind of more relaxed and everything. But it kind of flows easier at times, right? And then it's like depending on what you're thinking about or how you're thinking about it, or like I said, especially if you start overthinking things, then you're gonna start being more inconsistent with it. So, I mean, at this point, especially with like the bar chords, you don't really have like the muscle memory. Right, so if I were to play an F sharp minor chord, I can get my hand right here and just put it down, right? Like I can do all like almost like gang signs, right? Just make them and then make music with it, kind of thing. Put that down. So, yeah, I mean, take for practicing those, we can do a little bit of it with what we're gonna jam with today, but we can also use easy chords because we're gonna focus a little bit more on the rhythm. And putting you more in a situation where you're playing with a band.
Gotcha.
Okay. There's a lot of good things to do with that as far as like keeping your timing and not like having to stop and start over, right? I think I've only seen 2 bands ever start a song over. One was just super embarrassing. I felt bad for them. But it was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was one of the opening bands for us at one point, and the guy was probably drunk or something, but one of the members, I think it was the bass player, couldn't do anything, and they started the song over. And then the other time was a power outage, because there was a tornado. So that makes sense.
That's legit.
That made sense.
Yeah.
And they were super tight. That was, I think, the Contortionist. Or it actually might have been Jeff. It was one of them where it went off. And, there was a tornado like a mile away from the venue. More tour adventures.
I know. There are more stories that I can count.
I know. I don't even remember most of them, probably. All right. So, like I said, we're going to focus a little bit on getting that consistency up. Kind of just having some fun and jamming.
I've never jammed. I'm kind of nervous.
Have you ever played? When you played before, was it always like by yourself? Or did you ever?
There was a person who played piano.
Okay.
Sometimes.
But yeah, but more not like in a full band kind of thing. Or...
Yeah, I always just sang if I was.
So the big thing, I think that throws people off, just to talk about real quick. There's kind of 3 categories that people I don't know what the right way of saying this is. Overlap or sort of get confused. Okay. That makes it more difficult for them to play. For me, like, for example, if the drummer does something awesome, I'm like the little dog from Up, squirrel. Like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I want to stop playing because I just want to watch the drummer or whatever it is, right? So you don't want to get distracted with all the stuff that's going on. You want to be, when you're strumming and playing along in the band, you don't necessarily have to be counting. Mm-hmm. In like the most complicated performances I've had to do, I probably only counted for maybe like 5% of it. Okay. Just like this one moment where it always tripped me up if I didn't go like 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you want to be feeling like the pulse of it.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of times, if you're playing with a band, the drummer is going to have some sort of cymbal that's like keeping like if you're in 4/4, 4 beats, right? Uh-huh. And then you'll have the more, I guess, distracting stuff going on. So you want to kind of just lock in with that. So 3 things you have to keep in mind, and this will be easier to show over on this view. Right now, we just have this is just a session that I use for teaching, where there's a bunch of like random ideas and backing tracks and stuff. So pretend it's empty. Okay, we're starting from scratch. So there's tempo, there's time signature, and there's rhythm.
Okay.
They're all pretty closely related, but a lot of times, like I said, people get confused with them. So tempo is literally just how fast it is.
Okay.
So you can have like a quarter note, which is worth 1 beat, this fast, or you can have it really like painfully slow. Okay. Yeah, really. I mean, and that's like those really slow songs are the only way that you would really see like the faster type of notes. Like, because you have like quarter notes and eighth notes, which is what we mainly did with the strumming, but then you have 16th, 32nds, 64th, 128th. you're never gonna see those unless the song is like, instead of like, if it's 60 beats per minute, that's one every second. If you're playing at a tempo where you have like 30, one beat every 2 seconds, like I said, but then if you're playing like a 30-second note, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, like that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so time signature is telling you like the total. Okay, so if it says the top number, like if it says 4/4, top number always tells you how many there are. Bottom number tells you what kind of note it is.
Okay.
So if it says 4/4, just like a fraction, the 4 at the bottom is a quarter, 4 quarter notes. If you had 100 on the top, because you can have any amount, but then at the bottom it still has to be some type of note, like a quarter note, eighth note, half note, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. And then the rhythm is specifically what you're doing within that time signature.
Okay.
Right? Because there's a million songs that have 4 beats a measure.
Right.
But there's a lot of different variations on them. Right? So you just don't get those confused. The other thing that's really, just to kind of bring up something that's a little weird, if we are playing, and let me make a quick little drum beat. I think the other thing that throws people off potentially is when you have like a change of your accent. And so what I mean by that is like a lot of times the accent on drums is that snare drum because it stands out, right? Accent is, just anything that's going to be out like in front kind of thing. So if I do, just keep this simple. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make something up in 2 different, this is in 3/4, so three beats per measure, and then it's going to be switching between that and 6/8. So if we think about if you think about those 2 time signatures, they have the same number of notes, but the accents are different, and it makes it feel totally different. So sometimes I just want to bring this up just because if you hear something like this, don't let it like throw you off. Because as long as you're listening to that pulse of the the beat or whatever you want to think of it as. Oopsies, move over one. All right. So with this, I'm gonna play. Like I said, I'm just gonna make something up. I'm not even gonna give me a count in. Nothing is gonna change except the accents. Okay, so let's see. More accents. That's the exact same thing I'm playing.
You're just picking more strings.
No, I'm not changing a thing. All I'm doing for this whole thing. Oop, that was an accident. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I'm doing. And then again, so 6. But what's happening is it's like the groupings of the rhythm change. So if you think about the 6/8 feel, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So here, let's go back. Let's only do the 6/8 so you can get kind of that in your head. Oh, whoa! I don't know. On a rocket to someplace apparently. Bye bye. Ah! See you later. Let's see. Okay. Highlight just that. Jeez. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Kind of that more relaxed, like swaying kind of feel, right? So if I were to do the same. If we go to the 3/4, because of the accent change, it feels more like groups of 2s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But I'm still playing the exact same thing, right?
That makes it absolutely makes no sense to me. Like I can see you do it and I can hear the change, but like
it blows your mind, kind of like how
I can't even like wrap my mind around how I would even do that.
Well, I guess a more simple version of an example could be something like, even if you were just playing no backing or anything like that, but if you have like, let's say like a G chord or whatever, and you're going like, let's say it's in 4/4, and you have like a so the accent's only on that third beat, right? If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, it feels faster.
Okay,
It feels more
understand.
energetic, right? If I were doing it almost feels faster, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes.
Yeah. So the
I think it was the picking that was throwing me off because I was like, "There's no way." I don't know.
well, I mean, yeah, it could be just like 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Okay.
Accents.
Yeah.
I think the drums might have thrown you off,
Maybe.
just because it's a different application of it.
Mm.
Yeah, 3/4 is a little. I don't know. Anytime I write, I only really use 3/4. I guess if I'm switching to like from 6/8 a lot. I don't tend to use it or if I'm in a area where it switches the time signature a ton. 4/4, 3/4, 5/4, whatever. Most of the time, if I'm trying to write in just straight 3/4, it ends up sounding like a waltz, and I don't really particularly want that. Okay, so like I said, a lot of times your drums are going to keep the beat or the pulse, right? Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yes.
So let's just say we're going to make a pretty straightforward kind of little pulse here. So what we're going to have is 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we can do whatever speed you want. I think anywhere between, I don't know, 75 might be a little on the slow side for you, but some people might want to play at that speed. But a metronome or a drum beat at like this is at 130 right now.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So that like 75, but you might have some stuff like I know some of the songs that you looked up, they almost consider them slower, but with faster rhythms, essentially. So it just kind of depends on how you want to think about it. But I would say probably 90 to 120 is probably a good starting point. Let's say we start at like whatever this is, 111 apparently, because I can't get it to the 10. Okay. So let's do something a little bit more relaxing, because I think sometimes when you have those extra, it feels like you add more pressure,
I'm like, do I even have jamming skills?
Where are my jamming skills?
I can do the other kind of jamming.
Yeah.
I can make you some strawberry jam if you
What?
want.
Sure.
Sure. It doesn't help here.
Yeah. So like here, you're just gonna have. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to pick some rhythm strumming pattern and just some chords that you can switch back and forth between, with that holding you accountable. Okay. So we don't really have to worry about too much. Let's start with just the drums, and then what we'll do is we'll kind of flesh it out and make it more of a band sort of thing with more distractions, essentially. I think so. For anyone watching or whatever, or if you want to do this, and obviously it's easier for you just to ask me, but I can make you a drum track or anything you need. But there's a lot on YouTube too, so you could find you could literally search up rock drum beat 90 beats per minute, and you'll find one. Just something that's a little bit more interesting to play with than just a beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
You
feel like you're actually playing a song instead of, I don't know.
What's that?
Makes it feel like you're actually playing a song.
Yeah, and that's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah, Seth said that you should do whole note bar chords and then just tell the drummer to play more complicated stuff. That way you can just. Yeah. So with this, what chords do you want to switch between? I'll let you decide that, and I'll give you a strumming pattern. We can do easy chords,
yeah.
or
how about I do the easy ones for now?
Sure.
We'll do G, C. We can do D quickly.
Okay. Just any, like, do you have a certain order or whatever? Just to kind of using those chords, or do you wanna? Do you have a specific thing in mind? All right, let's do. E minor, C, G.
Why do you always play E minor like this?
E minor 7.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if we were playing together, maybe I would do this one.
Okay.
It kind of depends. Like I like the sound of with these types of chords, with having my ring finger and pinky there the whole time, except for that D chord. I never do it.
Why is that?
Well, listen to the difference. If I play the D sus4, because it's anytime you see a suspended chord, they are. Well, I shouldn't say anytime, but traditionally they are transitional.
Okay.
They're used as a way of like resolving in a different way. So if I play, it feels like it needs to go somewhere a little bit, right? So it could go, or, and then it feels complete, right? So that's why I do the regular D more frequently. I use that D sus4 all the time if I had like, let's say I'm hanging out on that D chord and. That sort of stuff you hear all the time, but if you have a I like that one better. So most of the time I'll do the normal D, I guess.
Okay.
All right, so
I just remembered that from the song I was practicing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a ton of songs that do that. That's for sure. All right, so let's do E minor. How many times do you want to play E minor? 1 or 2? 2. So we'll do E minor twice, C once, and D once. So we'll go. Do you want to make up a pattern? Not really.
No,
Well, here.
go ahead.
Let's actually not do a specific pattern. We're just gonna try something. Okay. So, like you said, you kind of like getting your jamming skills up, and. Like if we're gonna go into like a band situation, let's just try this. You think about most songs, right? You probably are gonna have like maybe a more mellow intro or something, or it can start high, but like you'll probably build into something, go back down, move. There's a whole bunch of different options, I guess is the way to put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing with a drum beat. What we're gonna try and do is I'm just gonna call out like make it more energetic, or go like more to strumming, or try and make it more mellow. Like, so I'll give you like the dynamics, okay? Because then you're thinking about it like a song.
Yeah. I'm really nervous.
Don't be nervous. They're gonna hear me more anyway, probably, because I'll be plugged in.
You're playing with me?
I could. Does that make it easier? Some people like that. Some people hate it.
I feel like I can follow you. I feel confident enough in that, but I don't know.
Why were we doing the C up there? Let's low notes. Come on. Okay, so I'm gonna start playing with you, but then I'm gonna start not playing with you. But like I said, I'll just like kind of call out the dynamic. You could, like, if you're practicing on your own, you can just wing it.
Higher.
Yeah. That would be really awesome.
More energetic.
That's awesome.
You just hear me from the other room.
Just yelling at yourself.
More slower.
Yeah.
I just said more slower.
No one knows. All right, so yeah, it'll be like. Oh, sorry, E minor twice. I don't even remember.
It was E minor 7.
Minor 7 twice.
And then
C.
C and then G. I think you
G.
landed on G.
G. Let me change.
We can go to D. That's fine. I don't care. It's already in.
That's how hard it was to change. All right, so let's just start mellow. You could do strumming. You could try. You could add But here, like if you're doing picking, which might feel like a lot of pressure, all like you could just go. If you want to go to D, but just hit like, you see, I'm not. You're just adding like a little bit of like a texture. It's not like you have. A lot of times people feel like the responsibility is all on themselves, but the drummer, the bass player, everyone has a role, and so you don't have to do everything. If you think you have to do everything, you're really screwing yourself over. It's like when I played for when I was teaching at the Camp Jam, and then that lady told me to calm down because I was. I don't know if I told you this. I tell the students all the time, but I played for someone pretty famous at that camp, and when I showed up, I was playing 3 guitar parts because I listened to her album, and her album is super basic. But I was playing like all the layers because I didn't know. They told me at like 2 p.m. what I was playing at noon the next day, and I don't listen to her, so very out of my. It's very different than, like, say, Rivers of Nile, what I'm listening to now. All right, so lost my train of thought. I got a song stuck in my head now that I said that. Oh yeah, let's just.
You have to calm down. You were in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. I just had to calm down because I was trying to do all of the parts, and like it was too much. There's nothing wrong with hitting very simple things, and I didn't do that for a long time because I like complicated music. I always thought like, oh, if I'm writing in this kind of style, I have to do this checklist of things. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. Whatever you want, man.
Fuck it, do it live. All right, so here, like I said, we're gonna start mellow. So if whatever you feel comfortable with, is not any big deal whatsoever. Okay, so like you can go whatever you feel comfortable with, and at any time, if you start feeling like, if you get lost, try and jump back in as soon as you can. If you goof up a finger, just try and fix it. Whatever it is. A whammy bar on every strum? Are you on your phone? Or are you, like, I've heard some bad things about that. Or should I just put on even worse effects?
Oh, there you go.
And then maybe if I put on like a detuning effect or a whammy effect, it'll counteract the bad twitch. PC, crazy. That doesn't sound like that sounds like perfectly straight here, because to him he's saying it sounds like the bar. Like weird. Is it doing to the voice too, or is it only the guitar? Oh, work internet, who knows? I tried logging in on my phone because it kept reminding me the one day, and then when I went on there, it was like the video wouldn't play or anything.
Yeah, to what? His voice?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's weird. All right, so you ready? I'm just throwing you. Only the guitar. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Levels are pretty good too, so I don't know. All right. We're just, like I said, I'll start. I'll play with you, get you a little bit more comfortable with this, and then I'm gonna change up what I'm doing to kind of be distracting. Okay. Not really, not like. Well, I might be a dick, just a little bit. All right. Yeah, just a joke.
It's alright.
Whatever you want. So if you want Minor, yeah. Yep. Good. What happened there? Yeah, these are super fun to do. They're really open-ended, right? You can test out everything. What happened there?
I started listening to you, and then I got lost of where I was.
Yeah, especially you're doing whatever. So yeah, that is gonna throw you off, right? But the thing is, if you're paying attention to like too much, to like it's a distraction, like I'm saying, right? So if I were playing with just this, like with like that kind of higher part, if I were doing like a it's still following the amount of things. It's just that like I'm doing a different rhythm. I'm accenting a little different. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So for you, the main thing is locking in with what's going on, and then you can be free to do whatever you want. Like I probably said this a bunch of times on here, but like the most important thing is to hit that transition right away, or where it's supposed to happen. What you do after that in this kind of playing doesn't really matter. If you were playing like a song where you have like a very specific, type of picking or riff or whatever, then you would want to definitely match up. But otherwise, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's change it up. I'm just gonna keep throwing you under the bus today. It's gonna be fun.
I guess. Keeping me on my toes.
Yep. The whole point of this is not to plan as much. Really? Because especially people that have a background, like my students that have a background in like piano where it can be really rigid when you're learning. Like here, let's say we change this up only by changing the tempo. So now let's do it faster. Seth said the best practice for locking in is playing with a polymeter and switching meters every time through. Yeah, for real. That's we'll get there eventually. Okay. That's all the nerdy stuff that I love, where there's like 3 different time signatures at once and like.
Yeah, that's too much right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'll distract you with one. No, I'm just kidding. You play the 4/4. I'll play 5/8. It's just gonna fuck with your head. We're not gonna do it. But I am gonna switch up what I'm doing on you. Let me go. Get out of here, dog.
Hey.
Go lay down. What is on my floor? Oh, tape from drawing. All right, you ready? You're gonna have 4 beats, then you have to go.
Okay.
Are we starting energetic? Is that easier for you? Well, what did it feel easier to do, like just like a straight strumming pattern?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, start there then. It was always harder for me. Oh yeah, I forgot about the clap metronome. I didn't set that up. Next time. All right, so same exact chords: E minor, C, and then G. But like I was saying, we were doing like that. Why did it change? There we go. All right. Let's start more energetic. Like I said, it was always harder for me to go from like a high dynamic range like down.
Okay.
Because I kept wanting to do more, So, start up. right?
For sure.
So you're similar to me. So when it's more mellow, it'll probably be a little trickier for you to keep the time. Because you're not doing as much. I feel like when you have more accents and stuff, it's easier to keep playing.
Because I can't, it's like I keep going. I don't stop. Like, you know, the slower ones, I'm kind of like...
Yep.
And then I get distracted. I'm like, oh, yeah, I should be... Next one.
Right? Yeah, so, I mean, if you're doing something like, let's plan a little bit for this one. Let's try something mellow. So... When you're picking, I think it's important, especially when you're starting to hit the low note of the chord first.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a simple pattern. Let's go low note, whatever you're hitting, and then let's say 3 other strings. So we could go like that. We could go. Try a few. Just like play only the G or E minor or whatever chord you want, and pick that string, and then you want to try that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's all I do.
And then do that exact same pattern. Yep. But on that one we didn't play it that long, right?
Oh, right.
So there's a couple ways you could play this. I'll show you the easier one first, where you give yourself a little bit of a break, and then you could also do it where how you were just doing it, where you just were going 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, right?
Okay.
So let me slow this down because that picking pattern would be a little fast, I think, right there for you. So if we had or you could like You don't have to do that way. I mean, you could play like here. I mean, if I were doing the the normal open chords, that's fine. Or whichever ones you want.
Okay.
I feel like that open chord sounds more like it'd be in like a. You got to. 5th mode of harmonic. You know, it's the little nerdy thing. The weird thing about that sounds super dark, right? The main chord for that tonality is this. It's all happy. Weird, but then it's always used like.
I love that you make that face every time.
The stank face.
I have so many pictures of you on stage with him.
Yeah. That's funny. I could do like the vocalist from Meshuggah's face. He's always got the same look. Anyway. So 1 2 3 4 backwards.
I was like, wait a second.
No worries.
I wasn't
I was
ready.
just I was just gonna say yeah. Do it without this first.
Oh no.
It's a lot to pay attention to, right? So right now you're like going like this, back and forth, right? Yes. So when you were picking it, you were leaving your finger down, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, try not looking at that hand so much. First try, right? You don't need to. I mean, you can look at that hand for sure. I don't care which hand you look at.
I just have to look at you in the eye.
Just make awkward, direct eye contact. Play it. Seth, you know the other thing I need to do is I need to get a, I think the Metalocalypse wrong thing, like when he's giving the guitar wrong. I need one of those as like something people can either do on Twitch when I jack up stuff, or that I can do for people when I'm teaching. That'd be fun. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. It's not. Feel free to look at one of your hands, but I would try and not go back and forth like you were, because like first try you picked it, and now you're playing it much easier. That's like the overthinking it, overcomplicating it, right?
Yeah, it's just that C when I have to go to the second string, I get lost because I'm like.
So I mean, you can look. You could definitely. But not back and forth like that.
That makes me dizzy.
Yeah, and you don't have like chord charts in front of you, but if you had those, that would be 3 things.
I have done that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone does. It's everyone for sure. Everyone. All right. Let's do.
Or are we not actually gonna play that? Oh, okay. I was like, are we gonna play?
I was gonna see. I was thinking maybe of just doing something real quick, but we'll maybe do that towards the end. Yeah. Let's try this. Is that how does that tempo seem for you right now? That feel okay? Not too slow, not too fast. Okay. So. So the only thing that happened there, like you might have picked a little bit differently, but it still sounded good, right? The only thing is, like, if you hesitate on that first note, then it's not like that threw you off, right? So it's kind of like anything. I mean, as long as you start confidently, chances are it's going to continue.
Yeah.
You know, but if you start kind of on shaky, it's like, uh-oh, and it's like,
like you can't catch up with it. You're like,
because it's like panic, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, this is great because you can practice continuing on. It doesn't matter if you goof up. If you do this with just a drum beat, you have more flexibility. If you do it with something like we have right now, you can hear the bass player or like we're calling the band moving. There is there was at least this software that was called Band in a Box that used to be good for like jazz stuff. Well, all you would do is you could type in the chords and the style, and it would automatically create a backing track for you.
That's cool.
So, like, for jazz, it was pretty nice because, I mean, it's... Like, if you do, like, metal stuff or rock stuff in, like, tablature notation programs, it sounds really bad, but, like, that sounded a little bit better. It was super old, though, so I don't even know if it's still around. Okay, so let's do that picking again. And if you feel like changing it up. So if you wanted to go, as long as you hit that chord, you're fine, right? Okay. Here we go. Getting a little fast, so probably me, right? Messing with you. I was doing that. That sort of things.
I can strum first.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I feel like I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like I said, you're just it's new, right? But the way that you're just jumping into it is what you want. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing mellow, right? You could. I would say probably, if I'm gonna generalize, if you're doing all picking with no strums whatsoever, you're probably doing like a consistent pattern where you have like a. I don't even know what you're singing.
I don't.
Man, look how dark we just got. The cloud must.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, so you could have that's probably every '90s songs. Every '90s songs.
Every '90s songs.
Is that great? Oh, I was doing just those chords, not the actual Green Day song. I could though, if you would like. You could sing it. No.
I don't know the word. I could do the melody.
It's that damn picking pattern that's the same for all that stuff, right?
It's
that,
true, yeah.
That's that strumming pattern. That crazier chords.
I don't know names of bands or songs.
You are the worst.
No, absolute worst.
This is Jen. You know that song that they played on the intercom system when we were buying cereal? It went like this. La, da, da. You know? You know?
Totally me.
Yeah. Or it's like, I really like this song. What is it?
I don't know.
I
I don't know anything about the band. Can't give you any more information than that.
Oh no, I don't know. It's one of those songs that I've listened to, you know. Yeah, that's you. But anyway, I was gonna say, like, you probably would. What?
That's you.
Yeah, that's what you sound like. Yeah, you probably would have more of a consistent picking pattern if you were doing. Something kind of more. But if you were doing like a strum, I mean, a lot of times you'll hear it. It's like the pre-chorus where it starts building up. You can also have like kind of like a middle thing where you kind of, instead of strumming everything, you kind of go between low notes and high notes. And you see people do this all the time where they might go. Or if you're feeling real like a hoedown. But you could do like, I mean, that in like that bluegrassy sort of thing, or country and some blues or whatever. If you're not doing, you could have like a back and forth. There's a whole bunch of ways you can do this. But yeah, start with like simple things, whatever feels comfortable. A lot of times the way I would do it is I would just start with whatever the drum beat was, and just gradually, you know, build it up, see where it ends up going. Okay. Obviously, and then like I said, don't let things get distracting. So if we had like, even if we have this is not going to be a good example. This is a good example for sad. This is more than one. Yeah, that one.
Kidding, I have
Just
no idea
for you,
what I'm
Seth, I will. You can figure out this one. All right, so if I'm playing, we'll get rid of it.
That's what it is, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know which Green Day song you meant. Yeah, you could play that if you wanted.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But even if it's really, you still have like the main kind of pulse that's going on, even if it's really weird. I was trying to find one that wasn't super bad. Like, so here, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So even if you have something like this, right? Even though it's crazier and more distracting, you still have that same. So if we wanted, we could have a. Very more mellow. Obviously, if you're playing, you could go crazy. You could. It's up to you though. Point is, you just want to be creative with all that and kind of challenge yourself to. It gets you good at problem solving in the moment, so you can figure things out faster. And you know, if you're practicing for perfection, that's a great thing to do too. But I think it's useful to spend some time just kind of going for it. Not saying you need to be super sloppy and whatever. If it's like if you can't hit that bar, you could do this with bar chords. We just didn't, right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with a certain bar chord and it seems like too much, you know, take it back a little bit, adjust it so it's manageable. Any questions? Anyone out there have any questions?
Anybody out there?
Hello.
Hello.
No, I think you've got a lot of good things going on. There's a lot more areas that you can work on now.
This makes me feel like I could actually just like jump in and actually play with a band.
Sure.
Like before, I was just kind of like, well, I could do it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
And there are people. I won't name names. There are people that are really good at being in the studio, and there are people that are really good at being live, but not necessarily the other.
Gotcha.
You know.
Yeah.
And then there are, like, I've had people re-record an entire album because they were badass live, and then they could not hold it up in the studio because it was a different way of doing things. And I mean, if I'm going to go on tour, I'll start practicing standing up and stuff again.
Yeah.
I don't normally stand in here. That'd be really weird if I stood up like above all my students and taught them that way. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of I don't know where I'm going.
There's a bunch of factors at play.
There you go.
Like.
For sure. So yeah, sounding good. Yeah, if like I said, you can find a bunch of these backings, but I would kind of put on the headphone or do whatever. It wouldn't be a stream without hitting my head on something. Yeah, so practice with that. If you want any drum beats from me, just hit me up with well, obviously not talking to you, but talking to other people. If they want some drum beats, I have a bunch that I can just send you. You don't have to hit me up. You can just be like, Zach! Meatloaf!
Meatloaf!
That's awesome.
Love it.
All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good rest of your day. Seth, I'm going to call Tim in a second, and then, yeah, we'll be good for 7. So, all the best, everybody. Talk soon.